right there. Has to, oh, got it.
All right, everybody, we're live today, and this is going to be a great live coming at you guys right now. eCom Tom, I got one of my students here, Joseph Cox, and he has been drop shipping on eBay for, it's been about 2 months now, right?
Yeah.
So 2 months. You bought my course. When was that? About 2 months ago, right away. And then what you did was I hadn't yet updated it yet, and then you asked me for a one-on-one coaching session, and then I pretty much set you on your own path, right?
That's right, man. That's exactly what went down.
All right, so before we get into anything like that, we got 19 people in here. Tell us who's here. I can't tell who's actually here. Both of us can't see it. It just says 19 people in here, and you know where you're from. And if you have started manual drop shipping yet, we will be addressing manual drop shipping, how Joe's been doing since he started, some of the troubles that he's been having or that he did have in the beginning, a few issues, little hiccups here and there, and then just, you know, basic advice that somebody that has just started recently, that, you know, if you put the time and the effort and you really work towards it, what you can actually get as results out of, you know, manual drop shipping. So first off, I'd like to say, TikToker, I don't know when you said hey, but it was in there before I even came here. So how's it going? I don't even know if you're watching this right now. And then after that, Lazy Abram says, yo, how's it going? He's on a lot of the lives. Jason's in here. I'm sure he's in the other room right behind me right now in our kitchen. And Yasser says, I am an international seller, and my question is how to get tax exempt. We can talk about that later in the live. I mean, it's harder for an internationals. First off, also, I'm not an international, so I don't know exactly what to do, but I know what you need to get, and I can help you guys with that. But which state should I do my LLC in? I'm not going to answer that question. Ann says, your mom, thank you very much, Ann. And Marjorie Taylor says, I would like more information about tax exemption. All right, so a lot of people seem to be talking about tax exemption. Seems to be a big topic, and we can touch on that later. And pretty much talk about how we can even talk about how you got started with tax exemption and everything like that from the get-go.
Yeah.
So give a little bit of background about yourself, Joe. Introduce yourself, and we can go from there.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Tom. This is like truly an honor for me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So kind of the background for me, I've always been an entrepreneurial type guy. It's just always been how I was wired. But for the last about 10 years or so, I've actually been in full-time church ministry. And so I was a worship pastor. I grew up playing the piano was a big thing. And like my dream growing up was to be a professional pianist and all that.
I saw that when I was looking through your pictures. You had pictures of you playing the piano that I didn't know you did that. Yeah,
I did for years. And when I first got out of college, I went to college as a music major. And then I had some opportunities to go on the road to play piano. So I was a college dropout. Went on the road, made good money on the road, had a good time. I was playing gospel music, but just really felt it wasn't my calling in life. I really felt like more of a local church ministry thing was for us. So I got married, and my wife and I got involved in ministry, and then I was on staff at our church for years. But it just never felt like the path for us, because for me, my dream kind of became over time to build a business and become financially independent, so that whatever I did in ministry or for my church or whatever was because I love to do it, not because I needed a paycheck. So, and then, you know, to be completely honest, I didn't want other people controlling my time either, just like everybody else who worked normal jobs, you know. So I started an online business while I was still on staff at a church, and it was piano tutorials. And it took off a little bit, but I realized quickly it wasn't going to do really what I wanted it to do. It was going to require way more of my time than I was willing to give. I don't have a problem with working hard and working long hours, but you know, I needed to see real returns on my investment of my time. So just kind of kept searching, and then we made up our minds, Tom. We just made up our minds about 14 months ago that we were going to do it. We were going to go out and be entrepreneurs and make it work. So we sold our house, and that went really well. We had a lot of equity in the house. So we basically lived off of that cash for a while. And I continued to do piano tutorials because it paid. I made a little bit doing that every month, so it kept us from bleeding, you know, too fast, the finances we had. But then I got into eBay. It was started with thrifting, you know, like yard selling and stuff. Of
course. I feel like that's where everybody starts, with eBay.
Totally. And that's where I learned about the no-nos on eBay, and I learned about customer service, and you can't suck at that or you won't succeed.
Yeah.
And then I ran up on drop shipping, and I actually saw somebody else's videos before yours, and I didn't buy it. It didn't seem authentic to me. and then I crossed paths with you. I saw one of your videos, and right away I was hooked because I like the way you were teaching. I like the way you talk, and you were just always giving it to people straight, telling them like it really is. And I was like, you know what? I don't have time to waste on like somebody. All they want to do is sell me something. Like I need somebody that really knows what they're talking about. So I bought your course and I got started right away. The first month, I think you probably remember, I did almost 10 grand that first month.
Yeah.
But I made a lot of screwy mistakes. I didn't know what I was doing, and I jumped in it really fast. But like I keep this notebook, Tom. It's like part of my life. I walk around with a notebook so I don't forget stuff. And every step of the way, I just wrote down things that went wrong. And then I'd shoot you a message, be like, "Hey Tom, this happened. What do I do?" And then started up my second store, and this one was the first manual store.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. It's taken off. I mean, it's been insane. Every day my sales grow. And now I'm getting into the Amazon game, which I've been learning from you about that as well. So that's kind of the background. That's how I got here.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. I remember you messaged me this morning too. What do you know what your sales are at right now today, or estimate what they're at? Because you messaged me before noon that you were at $1,000 in sales already today, which is pretty wild before noon. I mean, it's how many listings do you have up?
I have,
or roughly, not an exact amount.
Yeah. Let me look at that, Tom. I've got less than 400, I'll say.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the power of the manual store, and that's everything that I've been trying to teach in the last 3 months. It's really, I mean, everything that I taught back in the day, the automation and all the software and everything on your account, it really isn't working in 2019. There's a ton of proof about it. Everybody's store has gotten flagged. Promoted listings have been falling to just about nothing. And I was calling in about one of my other accounts the other day about it, just talking about it with the rep, seeing what they had to say, and they're still denying it, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I tell anybody that talks, oh, the rep told me that my account was fine, I don't know what's going on. It's like, they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear.
Oh, totally.
But, I mean, they have a business to run here too, and they're trying to preserve themselves in the way that they think is the best way possible, and we're trying to do our own thing over here. But the one thing I
found that I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all good.
No, I found that everything you say about the manual drop shipping thing is true, because I ran into some snags on my first store that was because of, API integrations and stuff like that. And the minute I went manual, like I've literally had zero problems since going manual.
Yeah. I mean, the only issue with going manual I've ever seen is, first off, it takes a little bit more time, but you've already hired VAs and stuff, and you're only 2 months in, right?
Yeah, that's right. I have 2 full-time VAs.
Yeah. So once you start hiring VAs, and one thing I've noticed also with people that are talking about hiring VAs, and they're all afraid, oh, it's $300 a month or whatever you're going to pay them. First off, I tell everybody this, or I try to let everybody know, that you do not need to pay full-time for a VA. You don't need to have a VA full-time. Like, if you could pay a VA 10 hours a week to do something that you don't have 10 hours a week that you want to put towards it, listing, sourcing items, anything, then you really should outsource that right away. And with the manual dropshipping method, you said you have less than 400 items on your account, and you've hit, I mean, we'll show it in a few seconds, you're at $32,000 in the last 30 days right now. Like,
yeah, to answer your question from a couple of minutes ago, so today we're almost at 2K today.
Oh, damn. Yeah. And it's what? Well, right here, it's 5:10 p.m. where I am.
Right.
So, I mean, there's still a day to be had.
Most of my sales happen after 9 p.m. So I think we'll see 2,200 to 2,500 today.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And you're on the path to hit $50,000, $60,000 a month. This is your literal second month doing it. And I'm not saying that this is a normal thing that a lot of people are going to achieve. Joe works probably on his eBay store. Joe works 100% more than I do. And I mean, on his eBay store solely. There's he's always on. We're always messaging back and forth. And I mean, it's really all about how much effort you want to put into it. But like I said, when you don't have to have a lot of listings on your store, what your effort really goes to is, finding better ways to get better items, and just, making it a more streamlined outsourced business is what the time really gets put into.
Yeah, that was the thing. And to your point, I'll say, like, there's probably 100 listings on my store that I'm probably going to remove soon because they're just not performing. So like I could be doing what I'm doing with under 300.
Yeah. And at that point, not exactly, but you basically know the majority of the listings in your store, you know, why, oh, this one usually sells. Why isn't it selling today? Things like that, or it hasn't sold in the week. What's wrong? Oh, somebody undercut me. You can go and check that and actually have checks and balances. When if you're just going to bulk upload hundreds and thousands of items up there at a time, you're not going to know even what you're selling. And that's one of the biggest things that I've realized is if you don't know what you're selling, first off, eBay is getting very strict on their returns. First off, that's one big thing that happened in October of 2018. I made a video on that a while ago.
Yeah.
And if you have a high rate of returns in these categories, then you're going to get hit with 4% extra fees. A lot of people don't realize that. It's also very easy now to go below standard if you do not refund people within 48 hours of them returning the item, whether you overlooked it, whether you didn't know that was a thing. If they open up a case, you're going to get hit with a case closed without seller resolution. You get enough of those, you're going to go below standard. That's an extra 4% fees.
Yeah.
So some of my accounts back then were always just like dabbling along that line of extra 4% fees here, extra 4% fees here. If you're getting hit with 8% extra fees, you're not going to be making any money. And you're literally just going to be spending your time digging yourself out of holes that you've created because you're processing hundreds of orders a day, maybe to make the same amount of money that, you know, a manual store can do with 10 to 15 orders in a day.
Absolutely, man.
All right. Yeah. So before we go into show, you know, your sales, just for some proof here for the non-believers, we got 44 people watching here. Ask your questions. I mean, I'm going to answer them as well, but I want Joe to answer some of his questions from the beginner standpoint and everything that's going on. And also be sure to like the video. If you have not already, I'm one of those people as well that will sit there the entire time and not realize I didn't like it, or watch somebody's live and not even realize I'm subscribed to their channel. So I'm not subscribed to their channel.
Yeah, I've done that too.
I'm the same way. So if you want to share your screen, Joe, we can get into that. Just show the proof.
Yeah. Let me get that going.
And we can, a little bit beforehand, nice. Should you call to get your listings increase or let it increase monthly on its own? So I'm just gonna answer that question real quick off the bat. I made a video on that last week, and you should definitely call in right away to get the initial listing. But eventually over time, you're not gonna need to call in that much if you're not listing a lot of items on your store because of the new manual store method that we are teaching. So I'm gonna switch over to locking onto Joe's screen so you guys can see it. And I mean, so what March 18th, you can see there. So the first day was the day before that day, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, you can tell right there also, if you hover over where it says last 31 days, it's 32,593. Yeah. And last 90 days is 32,720 and 36. So you know that it's a brand new store.
Yeah. Yeah. It was almost right away. I mean, if you look here on the graph, this first day was the 13th. Yeah. We listed stuff on the 12th. I had my VAs and myself, we listed, I don't know, maybe 100 products before we ever started. And then we listed, 20 of them. And then right away we had $350 in sales. The next day,
did you put them in as drafts first?
Say that again.
Did you put the listings in as drafts and then you listed them afterwards?
No, we just had it in just like a spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just so we could keep up with them. We still do that actually. We keep them.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, how many different suppliers are you using right now?
I've got 5 that I use a whole lot, and then I've got 1 I'm experimenting with now. But yeah, there's 5 that make up my whole store.
So, are you using? What would you say the majority of your items? I mean, you said you have less than 400. What percentage of your items would you say are coming from Amazon, Walmart, and Home Depot? And what is the other percentage that's coming from other suppliers that either I mentioned inside the course or that you found on your own?
Yeah, totally. So I do 0 Amazon. I don't do any Amazon anymore. Yeah. I personally believe that it's just too risky at this point with the problems you deal with shipping and tracking numbers and all that stuff. So I don't do any Amazon. I'm still doing some Walmart, but we're doing so many new suppliers now that we're slowly phasing that out. Yeah. Because I just, I don't need to deal with Walmart anymore. And if I can deal with other suppliers that are more drop shipper friendly, I'd rather. I think I'm going to say more than 80% of our sales are coming from sources you mentioned in the course.
That is awesome. That is awesome to hear. And one thing that I was trying to bring the point across to everybody in the last video that I made, or I think it was the last live I made, is that the reason why all these prices from Amazon and Walmart items prices are changing all the time, first off, is because they are getting so many purchases coming from them every single day. Like Amazon can run out of stock in anything at any point in time because there's so many people going on to them. Same thing with Walmart. You're gonna have the same thing. Tons of people still shop on or do shop on Walmart.com. Yeah. And another big thing is that they're both marketplaces. So on Amazon especially, you could have 70 people on the same listing. People are constantly undercutting each other. They're constantly like, you know, undercutting, doing this, that, changing prices. Just price wars are nonstop happening on Amazon. It definitely happens on Walmart to a degree, but not as much. But that's why you need to have these repricers, or there was such a need back in the day for all these repricers and repricing, you know, every 40 minutes or every hour, because that's the big thing. But with these obscure suppliers, I'm sure you've realized that you don't even need to reprice every hour, let alone 2 or 3 hours.
Dude, you're totally right. Let me tell you, when I first started and I was using Amazon, I needed to reprice so often that I actually bought a cheap as crap laptop from Walmart to keep online at all times to keep me repricing. But now, I mean, I might run, you know, a Chrome window to reprice maybe a couple times a day.
Yeah, it's not like a big thing. Like I don't reprice when I'm sleeping. That just doesn't happen. And I've never really run into any issues with it. I'm sure eventually 1 or 2 issues will occur because of it, but that's literally 1 or 2 orders instead of if this was Amazon listings or Walmart listings going up, they change price all the time, nonstop, in and out of stock. Walmart's definitely more about the stock than it is about the pricing changing, but it still changes on price with Walmart as well. So there's issues, the very inherent issues just from the get-go with those. But when you're using other suppliers that are literally supplying their own items, and that's that, or they only have 1, 2, 3, 4 warehouses, they're not getting hundreds of thousands of orders a day. They're only getting, you know, thousands. Like I'm pretty sure one of the suppliers I talked to the other day that me and you both use pretty heavily, they said they only do 4,000 orders a day. So I mean, I mean that's a lot, but it's not. It's not Amazon or Walmart level by any means. So,
you know, and I'll say too, Tom, like that was one of the things that went wrong the first month I was doing drop shipping at this level was the repricing issues. We lost so much money on orders. You know, it was negative return basically, and you know, just like switching to better suppliers totally eliminated that. I don't think we've had a negative order. I think we've had 1 in the last 30 days, and I lost like $3. So
yeah, I mean, at that point, I'd process that because they're happening so infrequently, obviously. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I lost $3 on this one. But if it's something where they're happening all the time, then you're like, oh, $3 here, $3 here, $3 here. At that point, your profit is just getting eaten away.
Absolutely. And then if you don't mind me real quick, I'll say this too about other suppliers is I'm seeing way better profit margins.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
I'm using SKU I'm telling SKU Grid to now reprice my items I'm up to a 17% profit, which I know sounds crazy, and it makes me not all that competitive from a pricing standpoint, but my sales continue to grow even with that. So you could not do that with Amazon, maybe even not even Walmart.
I didn't know that you were that high priced. Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, I started just doing it like 1% a day, and now I'm at 17, and the sales still grow every day.
Well, the thing is as you get these listings up, and there's definitely not as much competition on these items. There's way, way, way less competition. And as I teach inside the course, literally I don't go for anything with more than 10 competitors on it, and you don't have to. I mean, Walmart items, sure, there's probably going to be more than 10, but most of the other suppliers that I talk about, they're very rarely going to find 10. That's very hard. Yeah. And you're not going to even have more than 1 page of items. So if you make 1 or 2 sales with the item, you're automatically going to get pushed to the top or closer to the top. And then as you keep making sales, eventually you'll be the #1 item on top of that listing with the social proof with a huge red lettering under it that it says like 65 sold in like a couple months.
Yeah, that's what I want right there.
Yeah, and that's the key. I mean, when you go through and literally just start looking at all these other suppliers, and when you're looking at these people that are using these suppliers on Zik Analytics, sure, there's less people that are doing it, but you'll realize that some of these people are making like a killing, like $60,000, $70,000 in sales a month with very low amount of items. And you look at when those items were listed, because Zik does show you the date that they were listed on. Yeah. And it's like, wow, this guy listed this item literally in like 2017. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I've noticed some of that too. And I think you said something to me a couple days ago about why that is. That's what I want to do. I mean, and that's the thing I was going to say too, with these great drop shipping suppliers, I'm finding that we have to do far less maintenance as time goes on
Oh,
to
yeah.
our eBay store. I mean, I've got one of my VAs, I have him prune the store every day. So anything that's been on there for 7 days and doesn't have a certain amount of views and no sales, we just get rid of it.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, like with these better suppliers, I like the way you're thinking, Tom. Like just put stuff on there that sell, and we can leave them there forever. You know,
it seems that way. I mean, from what I've seen people that were even selling things from 2014. One guy I saw.
Yeah, like, I saw one from some like 15, and I was like, holy crap, that's amazing.
That's wild. All right, so let's get the audience engaged a little bit. So we got 52 people watching. We're gonna go through and answer some questions now. I'll give my opinion. Joe, you can give your opinion from the more beginner standpoint, but obviously somebody that's still killing it as well. One thing to say is eCom Tomcat is in the house. This guy is very religious watcher, but you missed my last live, so I'm gonna call you out on that. But so here we are. So how can I boost sales on my eBay store? I mean, it's a pretty obscure question there. That's pretty open, open-ended. I would say you're going to want to start. I'm sure you're probably flagged if you're using any type of software. And you're going to want to just start a new store. One thing that I can add on to that is when you start a new store, this is something that I've been seeing from other people as well. And you close that other account, you were making sales on that other account at some point in time in recent history. You're going to need to still go onto that account and do customer service. And you're going to still need to go onto that account and close out returns. And you're still going to need to go on that account and deal with any type of cancellation or refund or anything like that for at least 30 days until all of the time periods are up. And I feel like I've seen people that have been doing that, canceling their accounts, or not canceling, but closing down everything, closing up shop, and just like, oh, done. And then that account in eBay's eyes is going to start looking like shit, really. And it's not going to, you're going to get in trouble for that. So that's unnecessary risk that you don't want to be taking.
Hey, can I throw a real quick comment out about that?
Yeah.
If you do that and you just kind of basically say, screw you to your customers on the other store, like you're going to have trouble drop shipping. If your attitude is not to take care of customers and make sure they have what they need and make sure that you treat them fairly and like make sure they either get their item or their money back, it's just going to suck for you.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen that. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, like I won this case. And even though, I kind of kept the guy's money anyways, I'm just going to, eBay sided with me. It's like, I always still just give the money back now because it's just like, what is the point? It's you basically lose nothing on the sale except for the 30-cent transaction fee from PayPal. And yes, there is going to be a change in PayPal that's coming out in May, and I am going to come out with a YouTube video on that. But that's not really the discussion of this video. But I mean, even if so, you lose minimal amounts of money in order to keep your accounts in good standing. And what is the thing that's making you the most money? Is your account being in good standing?
Totally. So, hey, and the thing is too, like with what you just threw out about PayPal, I know what you're talking about there because I was thinking about that too. And, the thought I was having on that, Tom, is like, that's like part of being an entrepreneur is problem solving. And like me personally, the way I've shifted my thinking, when I first started, every little thing that came up with eBay or PayPal, I'd freak out and text you.
Oh, that's what everybody does though.
I'm like, it's over for me, but it's never over until you're over, but like for me, something I've definitely learned is like, you got to roll with the punches. Honestly, all the rules that eBay and PayPal put in place, for the most part, I think they make us better. They make us better at what we do. So
it's very true. And I mean, it keeps you running a legitimate operation. When I remember when I was doing just bulk 200 orders a day, like there's no way I could track all that. I'm sure there's people that never got their money back, and I'm sorry to those people, but it's like, it's so hard to actually keep that in line. It's impossible to be able to track all of that unless you have huge systems set in place. And I mean, these softwares are great at doing, the automating on the front end, but the whole back end half is just kind of left up to you to just be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's one issue I have. So, so we talked about the sources that you're using, at least, the ones that are out there that are out into public knowledge and not inside of the course. And one thing I do want to say is that we only have 3 spots left. We did just launch the manual eBay dropshipping course that I just made last Monday, and there's only 3 spots left. So the first 20 people, I've announced this in the last probably 2 or 3 videos, get access to the course and the free and they'll get the virtual assistant course that I made for free. I just counted actually the other day to actually figure out how many videos there are between the two, and there's like 97 videos, so almost 100 videos between the 2 courses. and there's over 16 hours of content. So
yeah, I'll say you need to jump on that deal, people, because like the VA thing is huge. I mean, we can talk about that later if you want, Tom.
You got VAs right away, dude. Like I did the same thing. And anytime I've ever seen somebody get VAs right away, and I understand people come from different financial standings and they can't always, you know, get VAs right off the bat. But I also think that the majority of the reason why people don't get VAs and they don't outsource is either one, they're control freaks in their business and they really want to make sure that everything's good, like 100% done by them. But my thinking on that, and I forget who told me this, maybe I read it somewhere, is if your virtual assistants can do your job at 85% of what you're doing it at, then that's good enough. Like, I'm sure there's things going to fall between the cracks. Sure, you might lose money on an order because they may mess up. But the amount of time that you save because they are running your business for you is worth extreme amounts more than that. And that's the one thing that I can't get through people's heads enough.
Yeah, I'm convinced that there are no better VAs out there than the ones I ended up with. And I'm telling you right now, I would not have known how to get them if I hadn't had that VA course that you made. I mean,
oh yeah, I forgot you got that one too.
Yeah, I did, because I didn't want to hire sucky VAs.
Well, it cuts down the learning curve so much, because I've seen people out there that are just like hire one VA, realize that they're bad, a month later fire them. They hold on to them for way too long, then hire another one. A month later, realize they're bad, hold on to them for way too long, then fire them. And then it's just a repetitive process. And I've seen so many people firsthand, students, other people in groups and stuff, that will hire these VAs on and off for like 5-6 months before they find one. And then maybe one schemed them or something like that. And it's not worthwhile to me.
Definitely.
So Marjorie Taylor says, Tom, you don't recommend DSM Tool. I've never recommended DSM Tool. I have never heard one good thing about the program. They are hitting me up a lot recently because they're trying to change their brand image. And I mean, that's about all I have to say about DSM Tool. They use API integration. Anything that has happened in the past 4 months, it's 4 months now. Wow. I keep saying 4 months.
Wow.
Like, you are going to get your account flagged, and you cannot be selling on a flagged account. Anybody out there that is teaching that if you have a flagged account, just keep lowering your margins and lowering your margins and lowering your margins, find new ways to make money on the back end. If you want to use price matching or price reduction applications, I use all that stuff too. And the best part is I don't have to lower my margins because my account's not flagged, because we've avoided getting flagged. And Joe's avoided getting flagged, and other students that have taken this leap to go the manual route. And it's not full manual. It's not like you're not doing everything by yourself. It's just a name for it. It's literally, you can connect this to SKUGrid as long as you're doing, there's 2 out of the 4 options that you can reprice on SKUGrid do not connect to the API. We use the Chrome extension application usually. And if not, I mean, when I first started this, I didn't have my account even connected to SKUGrid, but I was listing from these obscure suppliers that don't change in price, like we've already said, and don't go out of stock very often. And I didn't have an issue for the first 20 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't preach that enough. And I do understand that there's a tide turning right now in the eBay dropshipping world.
Yeah.
And I mean, the people that take action now are the ones that are going to be reaping the benefits extremely soon, because this is literally your second month and you're out here hitting 32,000. You said that your profit margins are front end 17%, which is wild. Yeah.
I mean, for sure. There's one supplier that you need to get in the course to know what that supplier is. But there's one that I don't do 17% on that one, but I'm still doing 14%. So yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to complain about 17.
No.
So, hi, Tom. Will you be doing Amazon to eBay? I don't want to be doing Amazon to eBay anymore for the reasons that I haven't done it for the last probably 4.5 months, but just because of the fact that the reason we've stated before, they go out of stock all the time, in and out of stock nonstop. They change price nonstop. First, there's all the issues with their tracking numbers. Sure, there's Blue Care Express and there's other ways to get around it. Quite frankly, why even deal with it? I dealt with it in the past. It's a pain. Customers can't track it. Customers cannot track a Blue Care Express number. It says it's shipped. It says it's in transit, and then it says it's delivered. I don't even think it gives an address or a zip code that is delivered to. eBay clearly knows what's going on. I mean, they clearly know.
If you use Blue Care Express, you might as well I personally think you might as well call eBay and tell them you're drop shipping.
Yeah, I think the same way too. I haven't had the experience on the back end of trying to run a manual store with Amazon, but again, my method now and my thinking is that I'm trying to move as far away from the normal as possible, just because of the fact that you can get so much more money out there with literally way less listings. And at one point I had 900 listings on my account. And that was literally because I was just running experiments for a month and a half straight, trying to figure out and get like a list of 10 good suppliers to be using. And then afterwards I realized, I was like, wow, I don't need any of these items. Some of these are doing awful. I deleted 500 and my sales went up.
Gosh. Yeah.
So it's like, it's the proof is all there. So what's Christian says, what's your store name? I'll snipe you.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was what we tried to avoid beforehand.
Yeah.
So Joe, are you using Zik? That's one question that Christian has.
I used to use Zik, but now my VAs use Zik.
That's very true. Me too.
Yeah, we use Zik. We use it to now I will say on some of these more obscure suppliers, we do some experimenting. I'm really excited about one supplier that you and I both use, Tom. I couldn't really find a lot on Zik with that supplier, but I just started listing stuff that I thought I could sell, and it's all selling. I mean,
yeah. One of the things I realized when, if there's not a lot from that supplier online, first off, if you think back to when this all started at some point in time, and somebody had to have started this, that's the only way it could have ever happened. Also, all of the items that are on eBay that, we say go onto Zik, find somebody that's selling this many times in the last 30 days and then snipe it. Somebody had to put that item on eBay to begin with. Somebody had to go, hey, this item looks good on Walmart.com. Let me put it on eBay. And then it started selling, and then people started sniping him. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you could be that person listing that item. And I had my VAs do an experiment. I didn't even give them any rules. I just said, look at items that you think are good and list them.
Yeah.
That aren't on eBay. And we listed 200 of them, and 20% of them with I think I waited 45 days to 60 days. I forget, just to give them more time to possibly sell. And 20% of them at that point in time, and 60 days later, had either a watcher or a sale. So I deleted everyone that didn't. I kept them in an Excel sheet for later, just in case. Yeah. And I mean, 20%, that's still pretty good.
Totally, man. And it's funny you mentioned that somebody had to start this thing. You may not believe this, Tom, but okay. So, I told you I had dropped out of college, but I actually went back to school after I got married. And when I was working, and I did my undergraduate, and then I was working on a master's degree, and that school bill was getting high because working on graduate work, there's no financial aid for that. So when I was doing that, I was trying to figure out a way to make money on eBay, and I literally had the thought in 2008, wonder if I could drop stuff onto eBay from Amazon to make money. And then I remember thinking back then, that'll never work. That's a stupid idea. I'm not gonna do that. And now it's literally how I'm making a living. It's pretty funny because
you hear a lot of people say, oh, yeah, I remember I thought I was the first one that started this.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah. Also, Gene's in here. Thank you very much, Gene, for the $2 donation. I appreciate it. Give me a call tomorrow morning, and we can finally catch up because you've been in Mexico for a long time, or you finally got back. But so where are we? Christian also asked, what's the compensation plan for your source and listing VA? Do you want to go over that?
I can. Do you want me to just
not too in depth, but yeah.
What's that?
I said don't go too in depth, but yeah, let's just.
Yeah, I won't say exactly the amount that I pay my VAs. It's something I worked out with them, but I will say that my VAs are overseas and they work really hard. They're really great workers because they need good jobs and they don't ask for a lot of money. Me personally, I struggled with that, Tom. I think I texted you about it a while back, but when I first hired them, I felt bad about how little they were asking me for. Then I realized, I actually have a friend who lives out of state, and he's a business owner as well. And I talked to him about it, and he's like, listen, if that's the compensation rate where they live and you start trying to give them more because you feel guilty about it, you're going to ruin them. It's just like anybody else. If you just start throwing money at people, it's not good for the industry. It's not good for that person.
Yeah.
So what I've done, Tom, is, and answer to the viewer's question, is I started them out at a wage that we agreed on. And instead of just constantly giving them raises, I actually have given my VAs benchmarks, right? So hey guys, if you help me get to this many dollars a day in sales, I'm going to give you this much of a bonus every month that we stay at that level.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it has really paid off because I have two hardworking VAs. They work as hard as I do, and you know how much I work. So
that's one thing to say.
Yeah. So I mean, bro, I'm getting text messages around the clock from my VAs or Skype messages, just constantly saying, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's try this." And you know, it's awesome because the compensation plan is, hey, get me to my sale goals and you're going to get a big hefty bonus.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, that's great. And that's one thing that I've kind of worked out as well, is I've gotten to the point where I find good enough virtual assistants to the point where they're giving me suggestions. Like the one that runs my Instagram is like, Tom, like we should start making pictures like this, or we should start making pictures like this. I'm like, great idea. Go do it. I appreciate it. Like I trust you. Thank you. And you know, they get paid pretty well. So I mean, it's all about getting the right VA is what it is.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this too, real quick. You know, I mentioned how low of a wage the VAs asked me for. I have one VA working for me. She was my first full timer, and she actually said to me the other day via a Skype message. She just said, "I just want you to know that like I'm literally providing for my daughter through this job." So I mean, it's money to them, you know.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
to move on from virtual assistants, I feel like we've talked a lot about them. Is First Time Gamer asks, is automated dropshipping still alive? And I'm going to give you a very short answer. In my opinion, no, it is not. I have seen evidence on all 3 of my accounts that were using it that they are completely like, I called up eBay and was like, go to the promoted listings, look at the impressions. Now we're going to go to the custom filter here, and we're going to go to October 1st, 2018, all the way to December 31st, 2018. I go, you look at this graph and you tell me if something looks wrong. And he goes, yeah, it doesn't look good. He's like, maybe it was just a change in the market. I'm like, a change in the market during Christmas, literally during Christmas, while I had the same amount of items listed. Like, dude, it doesn't make sense. It is 100% you are getting flagged. Like, sure, you can start a new account. You can put automation on it, software, whatever, bulk list thousands of items up there. But guess what? 3 weeks later, you're going to be in the same boat again. Absolutely. And I remember I was talking with one kid that was trying to actually create a new account every 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm like, dude, that'll work for a little bit, sure. But eventually, either you're going to get caught doing something completely stupid, you're going to have way too many mistakes on your accounts, or you're just going to get burned out from the fact that that's an awful process.
Yeah.
Like, I would never do that. But I mean, you can give your opinion on it. I'm sure we have pretty similar opinions.
I agree 100%. I mean, you know, I have backup accounts that nothing is listed on yet. You know, I just get those accounts ready and primed. And
Yeah.
I'll just mention this too. Like, if you'll be the type of person who like is really hardworking and passionate about this business, others will get excited about that. I have friends in my life who they know they couldn't do this because maybe they're just not computer savvy or they're just not as dedicated to working like I am. Like everyone who knows me jokes about the fact that I'm kind of a workaholic. So
you definitely are. I noticed that right from the bat. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So they don't want to do it. But, you know, like I'll give you an example. There's a guy, a really close friend of mine, friend of my whole family. He's been in our lives for a while. And he came to me. He's like, Joe, I can't do that. But here's what I'd like to do. Would you open an eBay store in my name? Here's my credit card. And whenever you have time, just get this going and I'll fund it and just split the profit with me after you pay VAs and everything. And so like, I've got that guy's card sitting here ready to go whenever I have time. And, you know, I'm going to make time to do that.
That's basically a done for you service. I mean, that's why the done for you services and things like that are so big. And that's one thing that I actually did want to ask on this chat. I actually forgot that I was going to say this on this live, is that Jason and I, my business partner, have been talking about a service. And this is for the people that are watching right now, where we're not going to run your store. It's not going to be a done for you service. But what we want to do is, since we have virtual assistants that we have 4 virtual assistants right now that we've worked with for 2 years, almost 2 years now. And we want to start a service where we source you guys items every month. So it's a certain amount of items. We haven't hashed out the deals yet, what the whole plan is going to be, but it's going to be a certain amount of money, a subscription base where we give you, and we promise that this item has sold at least this many times in the last 30 days with this % profit. And that, you know, no more than 3 or 4 other people will also get sent this listing. Really depends on how many people sign up. Yeah. But I'm just wondering if you guys want to comment below or comment in the chat if you guys would be interested in a service like this, because I've realized that the #1 thing since I've been coaching that a lot of people struggle with is item research. And why not make it that much, you know, that much more automated / easy for you guys?
Totally. That would be killing for a beginner, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. So Lingasa says dropshipping from Amazon sucks. Price change, always out of stock. Yeah, you're very true. There's high competition as well. Mm-hmm. And then he also asked, he or she, I don't know who Lingasa is. What do you think about the new eBay managing payment platform, Aiden? We'll need to link our bank account to eBay instead of the stealth. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. I'm going to talk about that in the next YouTube video I put out. So Jarrett says, congrats on your manual success. Oh, how's it going, dude? I haven't heard from you in a while, man. Thanks for coming on. Candace, who's also in the other room, work on your business, not in your business. Thank you, Candace. She also complimented my hat, which is her boyfriend's. Joe, you mentioned opening a new account if flagged. What do I need to do about opening a new account, a new eBay account regarding the IP address? So if your account's flagged, you're allowed to open up other eBay accounts no matter what. You just need to have, not a reason, but you need to make sure that if you open up this new account, like I stated earlier, that your old account, you keep track of that thing for at least 30, 40, 50 days afterwards, in 2 months, say 2 months, 60 days. Because sometimes I've seen where people will ask for a return like 45 days later, and for some reason eBay grants it. But if you didn't check the messages, then you wouldn't have known that happened. Now your account looks bad. And those accounts are connected. And you're going to be not in trouble, but you could get in trouble. It's a risk that you don't want to take. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you have any other input about that?
Yeah. If the viewer's question is about more like they got banned from eBay, I do have some insight. I mean, I'm not fully banned from eBay, but I know
we're not going to talk about stealth accounts right now. No.
Oh,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I wasn't going to say that at all. I was just going to say, like, if you have multiple accounts, I think you've said this before, Tom. If you have multiple accounts, it's like eBay's policy on that seems to be like innocent till proven guilty.
That's basically what it is. And that's everything I've ever seen. That's anything anybody else has ever seen. If you just gotten flagged, not like permanently banned, not anything else like that. We're not talking about that. If you've just gotten flagged because, your account has been dubbed a drop shipper by eBay inside of their algorithm somehow, some way, via whatever API access repricing tool you're using or any practices that you're doing, then all you have to do is just create another account. Same eBay, and the only thing that's different is the email. Same PayPal, same address, same cell phone, same name, same everything. Don't have to worry about it. Same IP. Don't have to worry about that. And it's literally the same. You just need to make sure that those other accounts that you had open, you keep track of for a bit.
Yeah, I see a couple of viewers throwing out the ideas of VPNs and stuff, and I would just say I wouldn't get too strong into the business of trying to deceive eBay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to unless you have to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. So, Brandon Charles says that Paul Lipsky used to condone DSM and he got rid of it. Yeah, and I got rid of it. Yeah, I mean, Brandon's in our course as well. He started his manual store. How's your store going, Brandon? Let me know in the comments if you're still here. What solution for if your account's flagged? We just answered that. If I use a software for just a couple weeks with only under 10 items listed, is it guaranteed my? That's an iffy question. If it's flagged or not. It's kind of hard to tell. One thing I would do is if you have those 10 items promoted, look at your promoted listings. If you're still getting impressions and clicks on them and sales, then most likely your account is not flagged. I can share my screen on what a flagged account looks like while we're going through this.
This blew my mind when you showed this to me, bro.
It's glaringly evident. Yeah, when I sent you the screenshot. Because the other day, eBay, what was it? eBay's impressions on the promoted listings just didn't work. That was 2 days ago. Yeah. And people were freaking out. I got so many messages like, oh, it was my account flagged. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Send me the picture of the impressions. And everybody was like, no, you're good. One guy was messaging me. He's like, it says I have 0 impressions, but I've only made sales from promoted listings today. I'm like, well, I'm sure you're getting impressions if you are getting sales from promoted listings.
Yeah.
Based on the definition of what an impression is. And, but yeah, so it's very evident. I'm going to do it right now. I'm just about done with it. Have you gone through the whole course yet?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh, that's a lot. That's 12 hours.
Oh, yeah. I did it one night, man.
You're a machine, dude. I'm telling you. So this is one of my accounts. I'm going to share it right here. Screen share, minimize. This is my account. That was my biggest account out there. And it literally, this is October 1st, 2018. And this is December 31st, 2018. And as you can tell, there's quite an issue going on. I'll scroll up. This is 2018. This literally happened. I mean, even these impressions right here, this is 120,000 impressions. It sounds like a lot, but I am getting over 120,000 impressions with a manual store with less than 500 listings. This account at the time literally said that it had, I think it had over 5,000 to 6,000 listings on there. and it was only getting that many impressions. And then all of a sudden here on November 1st on my birthday was literally like one of the lowest days ever. And then it just flatlined. If you see anything like this and it never comes back up, you're flagged. It's as evident as possible as you can ever see. And I mean, it's pretty glaringly obvious what's happening. So, I mean, that's about it for that. So that's how you know. And no can answer that for you. Do you get tax exempt for the unknown suppliers? That's actually a good question. So for the unknown, obscure suppliers out there that I put inside the course and everything, do you get tax exempt? And the answer is yes. The majority of them have tax exemption, and you just have to go out of your way. It's not as streamlined or well known as the process of, oh, go on to Walmart and do this. I've done Walmart tax exemption for many people and myself many a times. It's pretty easy. Amazon, pretty easy. Home Depot, very easy. Other suppliers out there, still pretty easy. They just don't always have it on their website. So you're gonna have to go out of your way to go find it, go call them, go do other things, and whatever else you have to do. But the majority of them have it. It's just that it's not as easy because nobody really talks about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Where else are we? How do you get over? All right, here's a good one. How did you get over the item location issues? What do you put as your item location? Do you put your you don't have to say where you're from if you actually put it there, but do you put multiple locations? Do you put your own town?
I put multiple locations.
All right. So do I. And that's all you have to do. If you look in the eBay terms of service or the item location policy, it's called, if you type in eBay item location policy, it literally says in there that you can use multiple locations. I don't think there's any issue with it. I think the only possible issue is, yes, eBay can obviously tell where your tracking number is coming from. It's a given. They can tell. And I think that if they had a vengeance against any other type of supplier out there, then they could target you for that. If they had a vengeance. Clearly, they're not doing it for our manual stores because it's not happening for our manual stores. But if you're using Amazon, I've seen people possibly have an issue this way. Maybe eBay doesn't want you selling Amazon items on eBay. It could. That's just a little hunch I have. I don't think that they would want their number one other competitor out there being sold on their marketplace more than any possible other item out there. I mean,
I'm 100% convinced that that's exactly what's up with Amazon.
I think that's only logical as to what's going on here. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I can say about that. You keep your experimental items on a separate sheet. Item locations. So, do you let them decide their own compensation? Hi, Tom. I know you use SKU Grid. Do you also use the order dash? I don't use the order dash. Did you set that up, or did you look into that?
No. I use only software I use at all is SKU Grid.
You know, SKU Grid has this thing called order dash, but nobody really talks about it. Yeah. It kind of just pulls your orders out, but that connects to the API. I don't think it'll affect it, but also I just didn't want to do it. It connects and kind of just like tracks your items and your sales and stuff. So you can say like ordered and not ordered or shipped or something. I'm not sure how it really works. I don't use it. That would be a great idea. So I think that I have two, one since 2001, one since a month ago. I'm not sure what that was in relation to. On increasing limits, would you still mention that you have another successful eBay store with high limits? I don't feel the need to do so, just because if you watch my last video on a phone call I had with eBay, I literally just say, oh, I bought a basic store. Can you please get me up to 250 listings? Do you need much more than 250 listings with this method? You don't really need that much more. You could have 250 listings at quantity 1 and you're good to go. And then a month later, because I'm sure when you first get started, in a month, it's gonna be hard to get 250 listings if you're by yourself just starting this. Yeah. Then all you have to do is wait a month or 2 weeks. If you max it out, 2 weeks, call them again.
Yeah. If you follow the methods in the course, that you can get from you, Tom, I don't think you're going to have any issues with limits with eBay. I mean, I've done everything you said to do, and every time I call them, I'm on the phone for 5 minutes. I have, major upgrades. Like, can I share the number on the last one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I had gotten to 125,000 or 1,000 items, whatever comes first, Yeah. And I hit obviously the cash limit, the first thing I hit. So I called and asked for a limit raise, just like you did on your video. And she was like, yeah, let me take a look at that. And she comes back on the phone and she's like, hey, listen, I can actually raise this substantially. So she right away hit me with 3,000 limits and $500,000 cash limit. But so 3,000 items, sorry, 3,000 items, $500,000 cash limit. I don't know if I'll even need my limit raised for a while.
No, at that point you won't. I mean, other old stores that I had, yeah, when I had thousands of items up, yeah, you need to keep getting it raised, get it raised, get it raised. But the first store, like when I opened up my main manual store in January, I literally called them up and just said, all right, let me get up to 250 or whatever. They got me up to that. And then a couple of days later, I believe, I called them again. I was like, yeah, let me get another one. And eventually, you know, in the first couple of weeks, I was at enough limits to sustain myself for a long time. And inside the course, I literally teach and showed that video that I posted on YouTube of me doing, that was a brand new account. I showed the limits. It was 10 items, $1,000. And the lady goes 150. I'm like, nah, I don't know. 250. Yeah. And then she's like, all right, 200. I'm like, I don't know, 250.
Yeah.
It's literally a bartering. It's just bartering.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything is inside the course. And like I've said, there's only 3 spots left as of when I came online. I don't know if anybody's bought it. If you want to take action now, take action now, because the deal to get the virtual assistant course for $150 virtual assistant course for free is ending on the 15th when we officially launch the course for the full price of $497. So if you want to actually learn how to scale as fast as Joe also did in literally 2 months, then, I mean, virtual assistants are going to be necessary.
Definitely. You got to jump on that.
So Ishmael said, when you create another eBay account with the same info and they ask you if you have another eBay account, what do you answer? The answer is yes, because they can tell. They can see inside your account based on your phone number, your address, how many accounts you have. They know exactly what you have. Brandon says he's only halfway through the course and listed a few items. All right, we need to get you into tip-top shape here, Brandon. Because I started a whole new account. I'm waiting to ease into it. Not sure if the accounts. Yeah, I don't know if your account will be out of PayPal jail. That's another question that I've had. My accounts never get put in PayPal jail anymore, but I've seen some people, you know, that it happens on. So take it slower if that happens. But again, if you put the tracking number on PayPal, then you get your funds back within, I think, 7 or 8 days. So it's not as bad as the 30 days or whatever.
For whatever reason, they jump on it really fast. And I'll tell you this too, man. I meant to tell you this a few days ago. I'm sure you already know this, but you can call PayPal and sometimes they'll work with you.
Yeah.
I called them like the second week on this manual store and was like, hey, what can you do? And they were like, yeah, we'll take a look at that, and immediately just released it. So like now I don't have those holds anymore, which was great because I was maxing my credit cards out. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a way to you know, get out of your PayPal jail right away.
I literally just called and asked, and they were like, yeah sure.
It's just like getting your item limits raised. It's the same thing. I've just never had to deal with it because I've never really been in PayPal jail.
Yeah.
Market expert said, hey, Tom, do you drop ship worldwide or only the US? That's a good question, actually. I don't use the global shipping program. I've never looked into Hip Shipper. It's been something that's been on my list that grows and that just keeps going to the bottom. I don't think I'll ever end up looking at it. Let's be honest. But I only ship in the US, mainly just because of issues that I had in the past with people buying Walmart items, sending them to Canada, trying to scheme you. People from Canada were like drop shipping my Walmart items throughout Canada, then asking for returns. If you say, oh, even if you put in your policy, your return policy, international returns not allowed. If the item comes damaged, that's your fault. It's not always your fault. eBay will most of the time take the blame for it and cover you because they have insurance on it as well because it went through the global shipping program. But there's been many a times, and when you start doing volume, you'll realize there's been many a times where I've been schemed out of hundreds of dollars for these expensive Walmart items because of the fact that somebody said it, you know, it didn't get delivered or something like that, and it just didn't get covered, or it was damaged, and they said, oh, well, we would only say it got damaged in transit if the box was damaged as well in the picture, but this was just the item and not the box. I've been told by a lot of, I'm sure there's a way to get all your money back, trust me, but it's just extra headaches that I don't want to deal with. But I don't know. I never asked you, do you use the global shipping program?
I do not. I did it before I was manual. I was going crazy with Amazon stuff. That was the month I did just under 10K. It just was a problem. It seemed like half or more of my global shipping stuff, people asked for refunds or returns, and it was just such a headache. And it was like maybe 5% or less of all of my items sold. So I just dropped it.
Yeah, it's not worthwhile. In my opinion. I mean, you can go out there and find out the hard way and then come back and say I was right later on. I'm sure I learned the hard way as well all the time.
Yeah.
Carl said, I agree. I don't think eBay wants Amazon or Walmart sold on their marketplace. It makes sense. First off, Amazon and Walmart come in Amazon and Walmart boxes a lot of the time. Sure, you don't get a lot of complaints about it personally. We don't get a lot, but who's to say that they're not calling eBay on the back end saying, hey, that's weird, or they're not just going to Amazon next time because, you know, they're like, oh, wow, this came really fast and it was in an Amazon box. A lot of these obscure suppliers don't have branding on their boxes. They have completely brown boxes that either just say fragile or whatever on it. Because I literally shipped one to myself by accident the other day. And I got a little alert on my cell phone that I had a package at my apartment complex. And I was like, what the hell? I didn't order anything. I realized I always get mad if my virtual assistant ships it to the wrong address. And then I just did it to myself. I'm like, well, there's nobody else to blame. So now I got a 3-foot long like flag case in my truck. So we'll deal with that at some point. So here are we. I have a cash limit of $1 million. So I'm trying to understand the tax exempt in Nexus and states. I don't want to get into this. Do I need to get exempt permit in every state or just some, or just some states? It's kind of complicated. I would suggest, Mike, honestly, contact a CPA because even most CPAs out there don't really even know what the tax law is, but you can force them to go learn it or go find somebody that does. My CPA does know it pretty well. If you want to contact me off this and, you know, give me a little bit of background about your story, I could suggest them to you. They are taking suggestions. I believe Christian, who's also on this live, has talked with my CPA before. I mean, they're pretty good at what they do. I'm just saying you can't go. I tried to go out there and figure it all on my own, and that was probably about 20 hours of research. And I mean, I know enough now, but I'm still just like, wow, I wish I just handed that off. Like, that is a lot to learn. And we can talk about that later, Joe, too, because I remember I was going to say that. Do you have your VA lister handle customer service as well? I personally have a customer service virtual assistant. And that's what I think works the best. How do you do customer service?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I need a third VA. I'm probably going to hire one in the next week or two because my customer service VA also fulfills my orders. She works 8 hours a day, and she's getting to the point where she's having to say, hey, I only got to order number such and such because we're out of time. So customer service has kind of become a full-time gig for our store. But I don't do it, and I'll tell you this, man. There's nothing I hate more than customer service, but it's also, there's probably nothing more necessary. So I freaking hate it because if you get an email from a buyer, it's almost always a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the first things I offloaded to a VA because it'll just get you down and discourage you. I mean, people are rude. So, yeah, I mean, she actually just like goes off a template that I gave her. She's like, if this, then copy and paste this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my VA now, I mean, she's been with me for over a year now, and she can just go off and she just starts doing things. And I'm like, yeah, I trust you. Keep going. Yeah. You do your thing. Go out there. And I know she works for Jason as well. She works for a couple other people.
Yeah.
So here we are getting to the end, and we have 72 people on here right now. I didn't even realize we have that many people. So if you do like this content, if you do want to see more of this, please like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. I actually realized through some research on YouTube the other day that even if you're subscribed, you won't see my videos most of the time unless you hit the little bell button next to it. So that's one way to actually do that. I'm going to answer the last few questions here. Then, you know, they usually go an hour. We're over an hour, or we're at an hour right now. So let's wrap this up. So Moniker asked, this is probably one of the most important questions here, is why SKU-Grid and what have they got that no one else has or they do better? First off, they have 470 plus US-based suppliers to choose from. That means that, I mean, going from what I've been teaching recently and what I teach inside my course, I give you guys first off a template that has 10 or 11 already pre-vetted suppliers, and I've already got 2 or 3 more that I want to add to the list, and it's going to constantly be updating, that are already to go to, and you can already use those. I've already found you their name brand, private label brands, so you can find people drop shipping them on eBay a lot easier, and you can go from there. But if you want to go out on your own and find your own suppliers, that's where I suggest starting first, and I give you guys the guidelines inside the course on that as well. But what do they have? They have the ability to reprice your items and list your items through the eBay file exchange and not connecting to the eBay API. So if you look at the terms of services on, you know, the eBay API, and I already brought this up earlier today, so I'm going to bring it up again. API terms of service. It literally says an API is a way for other applications to connect inside of eBay and interact with eBay through the code that they, the codes and commands that they ask for. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'll share my screen right here. And basically you will see screen share. And this is how all of the repricing softwares, the auto ordering softwares, and every software works. Says you are not allowed right here, restricted activities 9.7, to use eBay services to promote or engage in seller arbitrage. For example, automatically repricing eBay listings in response to price changes on competitor sites, automatically ordering sold items from competitor sites, that's what they all do, and posting tracking information to eBay when items purchased from competitor sites are shipped. That is a pretty dead giveaway that eBay is not in good favor of you using these softwares to go into the eBay API. And how do you know if a software is connected to the eBay API? When you go to connect the software to your account, if it brings you to eBay and asks you to connect it, then that means that it connects to the API. It connects through eBay. And you do not want that to happen. SKUGrid has the ability through a Chrome extension to pre-price your items through different files that they produce, that they pull off of eBay and put them into the file exchange. The file exchange is different than the eBay API, and it will not get your account flagged using it that way. That's how big bulk wholesalers and dealers and other huge sellers on eBay sell. And that's how we are going about. You can list through the file exchange as well. I don't personally do it. I really just suggest manually listing. But if you want to get more items up quickly, you can use it through another application that SKUGrid does have. So it's kind of complicated. But inside the course, I teach everything on how to do that, how to set up everything, you can even bulk upload through the file exchange. And you can do variation listings, which I don't think any other software can actually do it properly. And I mean, that's what SKUGrid has that other things don't. You don't have to use SKUGrid. I mean, if you really want to track all 100 orders or 100, 200 items that you have manually, by all means, go for it. But it doesn't sound fun to me. I'm always a big proponent of trying to automate as much as possible, but also do what is working. That's why I loved Sale Freaks back in the day. And somebody just asked, what happened to Sale Freaks? I haven't used Sale Freaks in 5 months. I haven't made a video about them. I've been talking manual drop shipping for the last 4 months at least. So that's kind of what has been there. You just might not have been on the channel, or maybe you're new to the channel, and welcome. But that's one little last rant / tangent I want to go off on about eBay API. It's clearly evident based off what I've showed throughout this whole entire video that if you have API or anything related to seller arbitrage software connected through the API, and mostly if you're using Amazon, from what I've seen, there's a high correlation Amazon to eBay getting in trouble, then your account will most likely get flagged. I've seen it happen time and time again. Everybody starts off good. They're like, yeah, my sales. Then week 3, they're done and their account's in the shitter and they can't do anything on it. And then what do? They complain about it. They go to the Facebook groups. They wonder, or they keep trying to sell on it. What is the point in trying to sell on an account that's broken? It's like having a washing machine that's in your house that just doesn't work and you just keep putting dishes in it. It doesn't work. Like it just makes no sense. So, I mean, and clearly from what Joe showed earlier in this live, like $32,000 in his first 30 days with a manual store with less than 400 items. I don't see how anybody would want to go back to the old ways. And this was a thing that people did way back before the automated softwares came around. Then eBay didn't like it. So now everybody's going back. This is the old ways. And so, all right, I think I just went on long enough tangent. eBay said 2 days to how to contact. If you want to contact me, find me on Facebook. I'm sure you'll be able to. If you type in Tom Cormier, you'll find me. And then most beginner-friendly platform to dropship on, eBay. And I only have TrackerBot connected through API. So far, so good. Yeah, I've heard TrackerBot's fine, but I'm still not taking the risk at the moment. Possibly in the future. So any last words here, Joe?
Man, I would just say be ready to work hard. Get the course. Don't try to figure this out on your own. Definitely get Tom's course. And if you can swing it, get the VA course. Right now, you can get it for free. So try to jump.
That's very true.
Yeah, but I mean, I can say with 100% confidence, if you're not leaning into someone who's had a lot of success like Tom has, and learning, all the ins and outs of this business, you've got a long road ahead of you, and you might fail. I mean, you at least need to get all the free content, absorb it as much as possible on the YouTube channel and stuff like that. But I always say the 2 keys to my success has been the course and the VAs. And then if there's a third key, it's been just my work. I work a lot. But I mean, the further we go into this, the more VAs I have, the less I'm working on it, because the whole point of this is passive income in the future. So
it's very true. And you expedited the process more than the average human being would expedite the process. You know what I mean? Like, you're selling a crazy amount in the first 2 months, and it's because you worked so damn hard on it. But if somebody wants to take it slow and somebody wants to only list 10, 15, 20 items in the first month, get their sales going, maybe they're still in PayPal jail or whatever, but get proof of concept.
yeah,
that's easy to do with minimal amounts of work to get started. And then when you really want to ramp it up, you can either hire out VAs. And of course, everything's a learning curve. And I've made the mistakes for you guys. Trust me on that. You don't have to make the mistakes, because I have for you. And everything that I have put inside the course is like, I've even found some of the more basic things when I was inside the course, like making it were harder to talk about, like the things that I've passed off to VAs like a year ago. But I found myself giving a lot more words of wisdom from things that are these rare occurrences that might not happen to everybody, but you've seen 1 or 2 people get hit with or something like that. And it's just something to avoid, something to keep in the back of your mind. And that's what I feel like. I've heard people say this before. I come from the future on this. Like, I've already done this. I've made the mistakes. I've gotten the listing banned on my other accounts multiple times for 7 days in a row, 3 days in a row, 7 days in a row again. Like, I've gone through a lot of issues that other people you don't have to if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, Tom. Let me say too, like, I actually probably wouldn't recommend that the average person try to scale as fast as I did.
Yeah.
I would take it easy. I would just go through the course and do it at your own pace. Because if you're working and doing other things and you're not the type that wants to just work around the clock.
You don't have a full-time job at the moment, right?
No, this is all I'm doing.
Yeah, so that's another thing. If you're doing this after work every day, you got to grow it a lot slower. But
you can be successful in this business and go slowly. You totally can.
Oh, of course. And I mean, you grew it extremely fast, probably one of the fastest I've ever seen for, manual stores. But I hope, we get other students out there. I mean, I've seen Stephen Hang has started to push his account up, and I know that Jordan Graham's doing his too. So, we got to start seeing some more, hopefully crazy results. But 30,000 the first month on a brand new account like that, it's pretty wild. I'll
say too, man, if we have folks out here watching that have full-time jobs and stuff, I know what you're dealing with. I've got a wife and 3 young children here at home. And, I worked 50, 60 hours a week up until a year ago, and still was trying to build online businesses. So I feel your pain. And I'll just say from experience, it still can be done. You may have to go slower than I did, but it's absolutely doable.
It's all about what you do in your spare time. If you're in your spare time, if you want to sit there and watch Netflix, then you're not going to be able to run an online business. It's as simple as that. It just doesn't work. There's only a certain amount of time in a day. You can obviously time manage as well as possible, but if you're going to sit there and watch TV and eat your ice cream on the sofa, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. You need to spend time into it in order to get a result out. A lot of people, one guy messaged me on Instagram last night, was like, "What do you do?" I was like, "eBay dropshipping." He goes, "Can I make $2,000 to $5,000 a week on this?" I was like, "That's the worst mentality you could ever go into this with. Like, you're going to fail." Like, that's what it is. Yeah. I have a few last. How much capital do you need to get started? I would suggest, not being completely 100% broke when you start this. Yeah. Definitely have some money saved up, just because of the fact that there are going to be some expenses. There could be issues there. There are mistakes to be made. But if you have $500 to $1,000, I believe you could slowly get started on this and then eventually build up to a sustainable business. The best thing about these manual stores is that with the SKU software, I bought 250,000 credits on SKU in February 24th before I went to Nicaragua. And that a credit is what reprices your item. 1 reprice equals 1 credit. Literally, like, I still have over 100,000 left, and it's almost 2 months later, and that was $30 of credits. So it's basically free to run a store on SKU. And I have inside of the course, I do have and also an affiliate code that will give you 20,000 off the bat. So you'll have at least a month free. And then from there, spot and paste you don't have to use it, but if you want to, that's $15 a month, I believe. Zik is $26. Altogether, it ends up being less than $100 a month, when some of these other stores were literally over $1,000 to run with the automated software. Yeah. So it's more cost effective in general. So with that, If you guys enjoyed this video one last time, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. We're at 31 likes. There's 65 people on here. The numbers aren't adding up. Any last words before we get off here?
Oh, man, I just want to say thank you, man. This has been a real privilege for me to get on here and do this with you. I've always been inspired by how you do business and the way you work. And, dude, I'm just thankful. I'm really appreciative of the content you've created. And I think anybody out there can do this. They need to watch the videos. They need to get the course. But I think anyone who's willing to work hard can learn from you and can be successful at this. So I appreciate all you do.
I really appreciate it. And I mean, even Jason will vouch for this. After I got off the coaching call with you, I was like, this guy is going to kill it. Like the first time ever, I was like, this guy has the mentality and the work ethic that not everybody has. And obviously your results have shown and paid off. And I mean, cheers. And, you know, like, let's get some more results out there in the future.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
So anybody else that's on here right now, thank you guys for coming by. If you have any last questions, post them in the comments below or post them in the chat and I'll try to go through and answer them in the comments. Thank you guys very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys were inspired by this. And I will see you next week when I don't know who I'm going to have on or what I'm going to do, but there'll be another live or two. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys very much for coming by and have a good one.